Hey, good morning everybody. Ed the Pond Professor here. I am from Southwest Ranches, Florida, and we are working on Blake's Exotic Ranch, Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch. So we were here a year ago with a team of certified aquascape contractors. We did a really cool pond right here in the front yard. Since then, we have gotten to know Blake, and with his mission and everything that he's trying to do down here, it's really, really cool. So this was what we created last year. Really cool little pond right up here in front of the house. Creates a nice little seating area. We got some windows over here, but just a standard ecosystem pond. Unbelievable facility here. He's got some incredible animals, and we are here doing our second pond. The new pond is going to be for all of his crazy exotic animals. We never know what he's going to do, so what we had to do is we had to overfilter everything. We have to make sure we have everything covered because Blake was just kind of throwing out different names of animals that potentially could be inside of this thing. So we want to make sure that we create an environment that is good for, it'll be a perfect home for all types of different animals. So we have an oversized filtration system. We're going to have lots of twists and curves. We're also having like a narrow spot where he can have a bridge going across to lead to a small animal enclosure. Here's one of his little pigs kind of wallowing around where our wetland filter is going to go. So some of the challenges we have on site, we have to leave this open. This is for trucks. We've already pulled our truck inside. We also have rock deliveries and everything are going to be coming directly through this gate. So this has to be kept open. Our wetland filter is going to be located in this section. This is going to help to detoxify the water. Remember, I just said we have to have an oversized filter because I don't exactly know what's going to go inside of here. So here's our pond. We do have a lot of different lines on the ground because we were throwing around different ideas. Blake was playing around with some stuff before we arrived, but one of the things that he showed me here, Department Fish and Wildlife Service said this is all he needs by law to create a home for these animals. So what we have is literally 10 times the size of that. Here's our pond with the white line going all the way stretched over here. We're over 30 feet in length, 15 feet wide. Right where this machine is sitting, you can see kind of this narrow section. This is going to be for a bridge, which will be for a small animal enclosure on the other side. But this will be the entire habitat for them. So they're going to have free range for this entire space. They're going to be able to go through the pond, small stream, waterfall, wetland. They're going to be able to climb in and around all of this stuff. And Blake told me that he also had some really cool logs, which I'm totally looking forward to utilizing. So we're going to probably drop some of those in over on that back section to create an incredible environment. Alright, so our aqua blocks, these are going to be used as a sedimentation trap for the bottom of our wetland filter. It's a really, really important part. I will show you that later on today or tomorrow. That's going to go up here. So this is part of the filtration system. It's a large sedimentation chamber, also spreads the water out nice and evenly. It is going to be critical for this particular pond because of the unique wildlife that he's going to be adding to this. So we want to make sure that we have everything covered. The other area for those aqua blocks is going to be for our pump vault. So the pump vault obviously houses the pumps, but it's a pre-filter. So traditionally, a lot of ponds are built with standard skimmer systems, just like on a swimming pool. But in this application, because of all the different animal life that he's going to have, we don't want an area where an animal can go in and possibly get caught inside of it, or worse, they could access the pumps and things. So, I mean, he's been talking about otters, capybaras, all different types of animals that potentially can go in here. So we don't want anything that can get to any of the mechanical stuff and damage it. So that's going to create a barrier for us. And I will describe that a little bit later in detail. So what Nick is doing right now, he's kind of rough excavating everything out about 18 inches down. This is all going to be stonework inside of this, and we're going to kind of work our way across. It's going to be a deep section here. We'll have it a little bit shallower right in this narrow section, and that's going to be for his bridge going across, and then we'll deepen it up again over on this section. So right now he's just kind of piling up the soil. We're going to spread all that material out. We have to remember, we have to keep all this area protected. This is for his deliveries and things like that. But it is quite a property here. We hit a little bit of a challenge. So even though we're down in Florida, expect more of like a sandier soil, we're hitting bedrock. Check this out. So that is the Florida cap rock. And we are kind of at a standstill, I guess, at this point. Just hear those teeth just scraping away at that stuff. Look of concern on Nick's face. All right, well, he's scraping away. We're within inches, so we're right about there. So now what we have to do, we're gonna finish cleaning that out, check all of our elevations, then we will dig this section, and then we're gonna start spreading that soil out. Some of this crushed stone that he's been digging out, really good material, actually from a structural standpoint. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spread that kind of over here where he's got this big roll-up door. So this is where he does like his, comes in with his golf cart, you know, tractors, that type of stuff for maintenance. And so he wants to kind of set up a little bit of an area over here. So what we want to do is we'll use some of that material to create a good solid base for him, and then that would allow for equipment, maintenance, truckloads, etc. Okay, we're getting close to being finished over here. You can see our deep spot here for our pump vault. We're coming in with some nice sand material up on top. It's a good compactable material. We have to make this really level, so this has to be perfectly level on the bottom. Otherwise, the aqua blocks over here are not going to sit properly, and then it will impact the water flow. So we want to have it nice and smooth all the way through that. The area where Blake is standing right now, that's going to be where the pump vault's at, and that is the lowest area. So if you look at the way this thing is designed, we have a 7-inch difference from the top to the bottom. That's going to ensure that there's always enough water volume for the pump that we have in here. We're going to have 2 adjustable speed pumps, so Blake will be able to kind of fine tune the flow for the animals. One of the pumps is going to send all the water up to the wetland filter. The second pump is going to be for a series of underwater jets for circulation. That's going to create a really nice flow going through this. The entire key to this system of working efficiently is having the right flow rates of water. So Nick is kind of just fine tuning the excavation a little bit. We have this little shallow area here in between where the bridge is going to go, and then we have the deep section over here. This is going to be according to the regulations for the animals that he's going to have in this pool. So we have to be at a depth of 2.5 feet. So what we're doing is we're double checking our measurements. We just marked this section out. Nick is going to kind of grade everything, and then we're going to dig that to the appropriate elevation. So the intake bay is coming along. We have it really nice and level right at this point, which is important because we want a good flow of water coming through here. So we want to make sure we have a good level platform to work off of. This outer edge over here that we kind of dug a little bit wider, the reason we did that is this is a natural pond. We don't want to have squares and rectangles and stuff like that. So we dig the shape according to the infrastructure, and then we do these other ones more for aesthetics. So that's going to create a little bit more visual interest. So our large boulders are going to go on the outside perimeter. We're going to probably have some logs and stuff inside of here as well. This is going to create that custom skimming system for all the animals that he'll have in this pond. Excavation is complete for the pond. Now we're going to start coming in with our fabric. So this is our heavy duty fabric. This is what we call our rock pad. This is going to create the necessary padding under the liner as well as on top of the liner. The heavy duty fabric went down on top of the excavation. Now we're coming in with our EPDM rubber membrane. This is going to hold all the water in place. What we're going to do on top of this, we're going to come in with another layer of the heavy duty geotextile. That's going to create a protective barrier. And then on top of that, in some of these big, wide, flat, open areas, we have a material called concrete cloth. So this is a material that will be impervious to anything that Blake comes up with to throw inside of here. If it's going to be alligators, caimans, otters, you name it, they're not going to be able to dig through and damage the rubber membrane. Second layer of geotextile has been installed over the rubber membrane. Again, this is a really, really heavy duty, tough material. It's going to create a nice barrier for any of the animals. And then on top of this, we're even going to go with another layer of protection just because he doesn't exactly know what's going inside of here. So I'm just trying to cover all bases so everything is protected. So this is our concrete cloth. It is nasty, dirty, and if you look at it, you can cut it with a regular razor knife. Comes in a 3.5 foot wide roll. It's 30 feet long. It actually has two different things on it. One side is like a smooth PVC membrane, and then the other side is your geotextile. And if you look at this, it's kind of got this really thick weave to it. And you see all that dust coming off? That's all like a Portland cement. So this actually cures underwater. So what we'll do is we're gonna cut it in pieces. We're gonna lay it down in the bottom of the pond. We'll put our rocks in place, and then as we're rinsing and washing and everything, it'll actually cure for us. So we're gonna cut a piece, go right down this middle, and we're just gonna systematically work our way around the perimeter. So our goal with this, to create this little habitat enrichment area, is we're trying to create it, make it look natural. We're keeping everything off the wall. We're trying to create a little pathway in here. So what I want to do is we're going to fill this hole with some smaller chunks of rock, and then we'll fill this entire pocket with river stone, and then we'll bridge across a big piece over the top of all this stuff. But we need to have a bedding material in order to put that stone in place. So that's our next step.
This is how I get Ed to get out of here at the end of the day. He just wants to always work.
Yes.
That means this is the last rock, right?
Last rock, absolutely.
So end of day one.
End of day one. Cheers.
Hey, you happy, Blake?
Oh, I'm happy. Good.